Okay.
Hey Tom, thanks so much for taking out the time to share your experience of working with me here at the Abundant Accountant and being in our 8-week sales mastery course. I'd love it if you could share where you're at in the country and where does your firm specialize? What does your firm specialize in?
Yeah. So we're in Huntington Beach, California, and we, I don't know if we have a necessarily a niche or an industry that we focus on, but it's primarily small businesses
Mhm.
and, doing what started out as just tax compliance, but over time we've migrated more into, um, tax advisory, as well. We've always had an investment advisory arm, so that's what makes us a little bit unique, trying to kind of fulfill the whole financial and tax, advisor role that people need.
Awesome. And I know before we started working together, you had shared with me that you were just bored doing all the compliance work. Tax planning and problem solving is really what you wanted to focus on, but you weren't really able to sell that at the prices that you want. And, your whole boundaries were eroded and you had scope creep. So, from your point of view, what was the biggest struggle with your sales process and all these things that were wrong in your firm where you said, okay, I got to do something about this?
Yeah, I mean, as far as sales process, there wasn't one. It was just manage the incoming fire as best as you can. Try to price it out based on, incredibly imperfect information from the prospect or the potential client. Um, and really everything was bespoke. There was not, it was one thing for one client, another thing for another client. No standardization, no packages, nothing like that. And it was a weird mixture of boredom and burnout because, it can get boring just, filing tax forms, doing the compliance work, but also every season that progressed, um, I'm a relatively young guy, but I could feel every tax season impacting my body, my health. And so it's just time to make a change and kind of put my foot down and, um, make some radical changes to the way we do things.
Yeah. And I like the B and B, the boredom and burnout. And I'm just curious, like, what was your stress levels like, and what was your frustration level at where you said, enough's enough, I can't do another tax season this
Yeah. Yeah, 10 out of 10. I mean, it's to the point where, there were very few days that I was enjoying,
year.
what I was doing. There's a little bit of a feeling, you're feeling trapped a little bit,
Yeah.
like, the business is working you instead of, working, kind of working for you.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I had created this job, um, that I had to, basically grind away at every year, and every January 1st start back at zero and grind again. And I think no matter how well we get the practice, fine-tuned, it's going to always be like that to some extent. But, um, the place we were at was just not healthy, not sustainable, and like I said, just, impacting, my health, um, and just mental health and physical health. Each tax season, every April, every October, it was just, thank God we got through it. And, May and November were nice, but that the volatility and the swings is not something I want to continue,
Yeah.
having. I want to have something that's more stable and more, sort of year round, and that's where the advisory comes in.
Yeah. And so, what was the moment you realized you needed to do something about the sales process and that all of these problems were actually because you were so, you know, bored and burnt out and at a 10 of 10 of frustration that you just were just flying by the seat of your pants? Like, what was the moment you realized, okay, I need to do something? I'm signing up, I'm enrolling in the 8-week sales mastery course. What was that tipping point for you?
I, Honestly, it was. I think it was just seeing, other people do it. So, through the American Institute of tax planners. I've talked to and met a lot of people that um, are able to have businesses of the same size as mine with, 1/10 as many clients, or even, 1/20th the number of clients we have. And, we're doing all the same stuff for them, for our clients that they were, but not in a formalized, packaged, way. Like it was for us, it's just, when the client has a fire drill, we gotta tie our shoes and go put out the fire. And as opposed to, getting paid to always be there, always provide whatever information they need such that the fires never happen.
Yeah.
Um, and so, it requires a lot of retraining ourselves. And then I think, as we're working through this with clients, it's gonna or we're starting to see that you kind of got to retrain clients too.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
It's a
you
re
know?
So basically, everyone you saw that has worked with me, you said, okay, I got to make a change.
Yeah, yeah. I think I talked to one guy who has 10 clients,
Yeah.
and that's a sustainable practice. And here I am with 500. It's just I'm happy to keep 500, but I hope I make 50 times as much as the guy with 10 clients, So
Yeah.
um
So when you decided to enroll in our 8-week sales mastery course, did you have any fears or hesitation about investing in yourself and like seeing, well, how's this going to work for me with someone with 500 clients where it's worked for somebody else with 10 clients? Like, were there any fears or hesitations that you had in working with us?
No, none working with you. You guys, I think through the process, there's some fears about, raising prices,
Yes.
or, changing even the whole concept of getting paid um, upfront, or you know uh, just not having, $70,000
Yeah.
of outstanding AR months later.
Yeah. So how's
Like
all that working for you, Tom?
that we're good. We're good. I think we're
Well,
down to
share with us your successes because you've made
yeah.
a 180 change in how you've been doing things.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think when we started, we had 22 or 24,000 of AR. We got that down to $200 within 10 days.
Yeah,
Um, and it's still at $200, but you know, no one's perfect. Um,
still collected
it,
200. We need to get it to
yeah,
zero.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna try to get to zero, but um, the other thing, the bigger thing is for all the clients on extension, we implemented, basically you can't even see the return or sign the return until you pay us. It's not even all the way that you guys recommend, which is, pay us before we put pen to paper. Um, and that, now that we're clear of October 15th, there's no AR, our bank accounts flush.
Yeah,
I actually need to open up some corporate brokerage accounts to park the cash for a little while. So
love it. So
I
now that
have
money can grow for you
new,
instead of
yeah,
just being
new. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I call it a new problem, but I would much rather be doing that than,
paid. Yeah.
sending people emails and just, spending hours and hours collecting AR. So, that's just a mindset shift. And, I thought it was going to be painful shifting that with our clients, but you just send it, you just do it. And
We ripped
then
off the Band-Aid, Tom.
and then I think they just know at their core, like that's not unreasonable to pay you and then sign my return and have it filed.
Yeah.
It's not, it's it's unreasonable the way it was being done before, but it was in their favor. So of course they were
They don't
taking advantage of
say
it.
anything. Yeah, they're like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
okay.
And there's no penalty if I pay you 7 months later. Like you're just happy to get the money. Yeah. I
Now
I was, I
broke.
was, but now
Now
it's
you're gonna have
gone.
a brokerage account that's earning, and you'll have
Yeah.
money being made for you instead of you being interest-free 7-month lender.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, I know the value of that because that's what I do for,
Yeah,
the other part of our business. So,
yeah.
um, it's hugely valuable. And really just, I mean, we're still in the process, frankly. we've got our price increase letters rolling out soon, and there's a little bit of fear there as we kind of fine tune who's getting what, uh, as far as increases and tightening of the red rope and the standards. Um, but and I'm sure there'll be some fun conversations of people who want to call, and I've already told them that I'm going to make them, or I've already told myself that I'm going to make them reference the letter and tell me what part exactly they have a question about, because I'm
Everything
not going to
answered
I'm
in
not
there.
going to say it any better than I'm going to write it down. So
I love
I'm not going to just repeat myself and waste my time with people.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'd love it, Tom, if you could share, like, what would you share with another firm owner that's also dealing with a lot of these headaches? Maybe they inherited a firm kind of like you did, or they
yeah.
bought a practice with 500 clients that it's just not all operating correctly, or maybe they're, second, third generation taking over the firm. What would you say to another firm owner that might feel stuck and unsure if like the 8 week sales mastery course or working with us here at the Abundant Accountant would work for them going through this and seeing how it's really made a difference for yourself? What would you tell yourself like 3 months ago?
Yeah, I would say, take the leap, and make time for it. Obviously, family and whatever, might get in the way. You might have some roadblocks, but just keep at it. Like, I myself, am a little behind where I wanted to be as far as working through everything. It's taken longer than I thought, but I'm just continuing at it, and I'm gonna eventually get everything perfected, or at least as how I want it to be. But all the components are there. Anything you can think of, you guys have covered, and it's really a wonderful blueprint to um, sort of make this change. And I think everybody should try to be running their practice this way, and ditching the old model of more clients and more compliance,
Yeah,
basically.
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'd love it if you could share too, and I know you said you weren't sure how this was all going to pan out for you and all that, but how has this made a difference with you, with your family? I know you wanted to really
Mhm.
be present with them on the weekends and in the evenings, and you just didn't even have that balance. I'd love
Yeah.
if you could share how this has already made a difference in just 8 weeks with you personally.
Yeah. It's funny because I felt myself already getting comfortable with kind of putting the family stuff before the business. But you guys kind of like reinforced and gave me greater confidence to, that it's all right, to, not live and breathe this job and this business 24/7.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a couple times where I was able to actually kind of like put it on the back burner and be present, and then nothing bad happened. I'm like, oh, okay, let's try that again. And then, nothing bad happened. And what seemed so panicked and needed my immediate attention when it first came across my plate turned out to not be that at all.
Yeah.
Or, once you say, okay, yeah, that'll be, I'll happy to do that. We'll just need a $3,000 payment and we'll get right on that. Oh, well, okay, well, I'll figure out some other way to do it. Right. So, and then they're like, okay, good to know, client. Let me make a note for that for next year when we make some hard decisions with people. But yeah, it's really just almost like, I don't want to say we're, bullied by clients, but you learn to almost stand up for yourself and,
Yes.
create the boundaries,
Created the
that are,
boundaries and the control, right?
yeah,
You
exactly.
shared with me earlier before you even started working with me that your boundaries had eroded. They were gone,
Yeah. Oh, totally.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you put them back up and you're not going to get bullied by your clients anymore. You're in
Yeah.
full control.
Yeah, exactly. And we're happy to do anything and everything our clients want, but if you pay us to file your tax return, and here we are, advising you on investments or this or do cleaning up your books or something like that's completely separate. And it's not just, you're not paying us $400 to do 20 hours of work anymore.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you, Tom, so much for taking out the time to share your experience about working with us here at the Abundant Accountant in our 8-week sales mastery course. Is there anything else you'd love to share with another firm owner that was just like you, that maybe inherited a practice, purchased a practice with a significant amount of clients, on what it was like working with us and how we were unique and different and how this really made an impact for you? But really, the uniqueness factor, what would you say is unique and different between other things that you've tried to do to fix this?
yeah, yeah. Candidly, I haven't tried too many different things, actively, paying for it and subscribing to it. I've read a ton, but what I really thought was helpful with you guys is the level of detail, and the the accuracy almost of all the lessons. Whereas if you follow the lessons to a T and you focus and dedicate to actually doing them the way they're supposed to be done, before you know it, you have this great portfolio, this great binder of
Your sales process binder.
yes, exactly. You have everything you need but in the form that you'll need it when you're talking to prospects or upselling clients.
Yeah.
It's not like certain things that don't, really, they're almost academic when you kind of write them down. They don't translate into the real world. What you guys have us do directly translates over to the real world when it's time to start, you know, upselling clients, handling prospects, and changing just the whole process of how the firm does business.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Tom, so much for taking out the time to share. It's been lovely to see you change and make these changes and put your boundaries back up that had eroded. I'm glad we've gotten rid of that erosion because you deserve this kind of life and not so stressed. And I just want to say thank you and appreciate you sharing so honestly and openly.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been great.